Hello, hello, hello. Oh, to all that's viewing me today, I want to come on here with a message. I was spirit led to give a message, a testimony of my spiritual journey, my awakening. Hopefully, this message will reach someone who's going through an awakening, that's not sure what to expect, or maybe afraid or confused or a little lost. Because trust me, I went through those things as well. I did. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the testimony itself. I'm currently on a spiritual journey, an awakening. And I gotta say, although it has been, I don't know the words to put it into, it's been scary at times, it's been confusing at times. I felt lonely at times. But all in all, it was the best thing ever happened to me. I mean, no words can explain what I've experienced. I've had family who walked away from me, friends that I thought were friends, lovers that I thought loved me. Truth of the matter, there was no real unconditional love in those partnerships, relationships, connections, soul ties, soulmates. I don't know. And a lot of it was myself, honestly. And I didn't realize that. So my awakening was honestly a true self-awakening for me to realize that I didn't know myself. I didn't take the time out to actually know me. This whole time I've been thinking I know myself when the person that I was being was not my true authentic self. It was the self that I made myself believe that I was. People around me made me believe that I was. My environment. But it wasn't me. It all started, the true awakening, because I believe I've been going through an awakening for a very long time. I just never took the time to be connected or tap into what was really going on because I had so many distractions. so many blockages. But this happened. I went through a dark night of the soul, is what they call it. I was in a relationship with a guy that I truly thought I loved. And at this age, I'm 44 years old now. I was 43 then. I've been going through this particular dark night of the soul, this awakening, since about September. He broke up with me, right? And I had no idea why. I couldn't figure it out. I thought he was my soulmate. I thought that we were going to get married and I was going to live my happily ever after. My grandkids were going to have a grandpa, because I have 5 children that grew up without a father in their life. And why he decided to not be a father, I don't know. That's something he's going to have to do some shadow work and look inside and find out what blocked him from receiving the love of his children and giving the love to his children. You know, at that time we were very young. He was very abusive, very abusive. I allowed it because I came from an abusive childhood. My parents were abusive. My mother was very abusive to me. She was very neglectful. I like to say she treated me kind of like Cinderella. I had 2 other younger sisters that it seemed that she favored. And she treated me as if I was an outcast, like I didn't belong. Um, she always told me how I was not pretty enough. I was ugly. I looked like a horse. I looked like my dad's people. My dad was in the household the younger part of my childhood. Um, but I had the kind of dad who was not the stronghold of the household. My mom was. So everything went through my mom, not my dad. So if my dad said that I could go to the park and play, if I went and my mom didn't approve, then I'd get a beating for that. So I couldn't take any advice from my dad. Not any advice like that. I took a lot of advice from my dad, but he couldn't lead me or direct me because my mom would not allow that. So with me being abused as a child and neglected and talked about, um, then my mom leaving my dad, getting with her new boyfriend, which was a separation in our household. Um, her boyfriend being able to tell us what to do, discipline us, and my dad was never able to. He was able to beat on us if he wanted to. So my mom gave her boyfriend a lot of authority that my dad didn't have. Her boyfriend made a lot of advances at me, touched me inappropriately, came into my room in the middle of the night, touching me inappropriately. I did make my mom aware. But my mom at the time was lost, I'm going to say. So she felt she was in love with this man, and she trusted and needed this man. She was codependent, I'd say. And I'm not here to judge anyone, because we all have our vices, we all have our karmic lessons we have to go through to build us and grow us. Whether we allow those karmic lessons to build and grow us is solely up to us, because do we want to learn? Do we want to grow? Do we want to get out of that situation? How bad do we want to? A lot of aspects go into that, I assume. But even then, with my mom being in a relationship with her boyfriend, instead of faulting him for the inappropriate things that he did, she faulted me, and she punished me for if he was upset with her, or if they got into a bicker or argument, or if he was distant, or if he wanted me to fix his food instead of her, cook for him instead of my mom. If he, you know, I remember one night she came into my room while she had me on punishment. I had been in there for weeks, and I guess she got into it with her boyfriend or something. And I'll never forget the day, because it broke my heart. She was upset, and she says, "Do you want my man? You want my man? You must want my man. You making life hard for me. You making me go through it with him. Every time I'm getting into it with him, and I know it's because of you. You want my man. I believe you want my man." Like, no, Mom, I'm trying to tell you that your man is bothering me. But she failed to acknowledge that. And I cried and I cried. Because I really couldn't even believe that she'd say something like that to me. You know, he's a grown man. I'm a child. Why would I want a man? I was only about 14 years old at the time. So, I got a whipping or whatever. Kind of like one of those Precious things, movie Precious. Um, but it was something, and my dad was kind of out of the picture. Really didn't want to come around because my mom left him for her boyfriend. So he'd say, "No, y'all with y'all mama now. She got her boyfriend. I can't come around. Your mama chose what she wanted for y'all." And so I had no help there, no way out of the situation. I tried to call and talk to my grandma, my mother's mother. And I begged and plead, like, why is she treating me the way she treats me? Why does she make me clean up everything? Why does she make me cook everything? Why does she fuss at me? Why do I get in trouble for the things that my sister does? Why is it that I cannot do anything right to make her happy, to make her love me? always wanted to love me. I can never remember her ever telling me that she loved me when I was a child. First time I remember her telling me she loved me, I was probably maybe 30 years old, living in a different city. Talked to her on the phone, and I told her I loved her over the phone, and she told me she loved me back, and I was blown away by that. But jumping back on the timeline, um, her boyfriend would touch me, and this one particular day, he touched me, and oh, back to my grandma. I'm sorry. My grandma used to tell me, you know, Kayla, I'm sorry you're going through that. I don't know what's going on with your mom, but I'm gonna tell you this. Your mom is jealous of you. She has always been jealous of you. Like, I was like, my grandma, she didn't know what she's talking about. How can a mama be jealous of her daughter? I'm her daughter. I love her. And I do anything for her. But she says she treats you that way because she's jealous of you. And I'm like, what I got for her to be jealous of? What do I do? What makes her jealous of me to treat me bad? Because a boyfriend like me, he ain't got no business liking me. I'm a child. But she even treated me bad when not before her boyfriend. She always treated me like she didn't want me around. She didn't like me. I never did nothing good enough. So one day her boyfriend tried to touch me. She left us at home. I think she was at work and her boyfriend was there because he didn't have a job. He didn't work anywhere. He just drank beer and got high and sat around us and gave us a hard time. Me being the oldest, it was mostly me because I was defending and taking up for my sisters all the time because that was I felt my job as an older sister. I get in trouble for everything they do, so I have to make sure that they don't do stuff to get in, bad, so I wouldn't get in trouble. So it's my job to watch after them and make sure that they are in line, they are protected, and everything's good. The house is clean, food is cooked, whatever. So I won't get in trouble, right? This particular day, he was touching me. I asked him to stop touching me. We got into it. He tried to whip me because I told him to stop and leave me alone. So he tried to whip me, and I fought back. He picked up a rake, one of those metal rakes that we had sitting like in the cupboard by the door before you leave out of the apartment. And he started beating me with the rake, with the metal end of the rake, and I was bloody. It was scratching me up. I was bloody everywhere. I was fighting back, but there was a machete in the closet. So to get him off of me, I grabbed the machete and threatened him with the machete and told him I was going to hurt him if he didn't leave me alone. My sister stood up for me at that time, and we all fought him off, and he left out of the door, and he went to his mom's house because his mom stayed in apartments on the other side of us. My mom got off work. I just knew she was going to, save us and get him out of the house and keep him away from us, especially when she saw how bloody I was and bruised up. So she came in and she saw it, and we told her what was going on. I explained I was crying. She left to go talk to him at his mom's house. She comes back, it's raining outside, and she goes off on me. She goes off on me. She tells me I'm wrong. I'm disobedient. I'm lying. I just want to be grown. And she gave me an ultimatum. Either I apologized to him so that he would come back home, because he wouldn't come back until I went to his mom's house and apologized and asked him to come back home. So I had to go make it right with him to get him to come back to our home, or I can get my things and I could get out of her house. I refused to beg him to come back to our home and hurt me. I also refused to stay with her anymore, because I realized that she wasn't protecting me. She was protecting him. So I got my little things, and I didn't have much. I remember it was pouring down raining. I had on a pair of kids, a pair of shorts, and a tank top. We used to live on the south side. We moved to the projects at that time. And I had some friends on the south side of town where we used to live, childhood friend, before we moved. Then my mom and dad separated. So I went to them and asked her dad for help. Actually, I didn't go to them first. I went to my dad. He stayed on the south side as well, but he was living with his new girlfriend. I went to his house and told him what happened, and I was put out, and, asked him to help me. He told me I couldn't stay there because his girlfriend did not want my mom's kids at her house, so I could not stay there. And he told me I had to leave. So in the rain, I walked onto the south side to my old childhood friend's house to see if her mom and dad